Welcome, modern day mystics, fellow truth seekers, James and Justin, back again with another reaction video. And you guys have been asking us to do another reaction on Sadhguru. It's been a while, a few weeks at least, since we've done anything on him. So I'll be honest, I just went to his webpage and looked up what is like the most popular video that Sadhguru has done. This was number 2. The first one I could do because it was a meditation.
Right.
This was the second one. It was called How to Manifest What You Really Want.
Good question. How do you get it?
Yeah. So we're gonna take a look at it today.
Even without doing any activity, you can still manifest what you want if you organize these 4 dimensions in one direction and keep it unwavering in that direction for a certain period of time. Now he believes Shiva will do it for him and it will happen. So is Shiva going to come and build your house? No, I want you to understand, God will not lift his little finger for you. What has not happened till now on this planet can happen tomorrow. Human beings are capable of making it happen tomorrow. Everything we as human beings have created on this planet was essentially first created in our minds. All that you see, which is human work on this planet, first found expression in the mind, then it got manifested in the outside world. The wonderful things that we have done on this planet and the horrible things that we have done on this planet, both have come from the human mind. So if we are concerned as to what we create in this world, it's extremely important that first of all we learn to create the right things in our mind, how we keep our minds. If we do not have the power to keep our minds the way we want it, what we create in the world is also going to be very accidental and haphazard.
Do you keep your mind the way that you want it?
Remember I jokingly said that that's what it… before we started this, I didn't know what I was gonna say, and I was like, he's probably gonna say what you think about is what you become or whatever. Also, don't you ever just kind of want to sit on Sadhguru's lap and tell him what you want for Christmas?
Oh God.
Tell him your dreams?
Sacrilegious. Holy man.
Is it though?
No.
Isn't he kind of like Hindu at times?
Yeah, he's a nice guy. I like Sad. This projecting our realities, this usually comes up in the talk when anyone's looking at manifestation. It was like that we're creating this thing, which, my mind, can go to some dark places, man. It gets filled up with worry constantly by just living my regular life and trying to pay the bills and do all the things I gotta do. And it's like, you can just get into this cycle of like, what if that thing goes bad and this thing happens and this falls apart and this, and then it's like, what am I creating? How am I getting into that zone, so allowing it so easily to happen?
Years ago I was in therapy and they talked about how you think about affects things, and they were saying that, how do you feel right now? Well, what if you got the news that your house was on fire? All of a sudden you would feel differently, but really only the information has changed. It's how you're thinking about it that causes you to go into panic. Right? And it's true, you don't know what's happening right now. Somewhere else, a calamity could be happening. If you're oblivious, you don't feel bad. Why is all of a sudden your idea of it seems like an unstoppable force? Man, I was in a dark place. I was constantly thinking about this.
Yeah, once you get that snowball going and it starts rolling, it seems like it's an accumulative effect. You gotta somehow shut down, man.
Despite years, we're getting on in years, and you'd think you'd start to get a grip on okay, things always end up okay. Over a long enough time period, things, equilibrialize. Yeah. And then I can handle it.
Yeah.
But that is, for some reason, in real time, when panic strikes, it's hard to just choose to think positively is the point I'm trying to get across here.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right.
In a nutshell.
So learning to create our minds the way we want is the basis of creating the world the way we want. There is a wonderful story in the yogic lore. On a certain day, a man took a walk. He went for a long walk. Accidentally, unawares, he walked into paradise. Fortunate, isn't he? He just took a walk and he landed up in paradise. After this long walk, he felt little tired. So he thought, oh, I'm tired, I wish I could rest somewhere. He looked around, there was a nice tree, underneath which there was very cushiony grass. So it was inviting. He went and put his head down there and slept. After a few hours he woke up, well rested, and he thought, oh, I'm well rested, but I'm feeling hungry, I wish I had something to eat. And he thought about all the nice things that he ever wanted to eat in his life. And instantly, all those things appeared in front of him. You need to understand, there the service is like that.
Hell yeah. That's awesome.
Hungry people don't ask questions. Food came and he ate. Stomach became full. Then he thought, oh, my stomach is full, I wish I had something to drink. All the nice things that he ever wanted to drink, he thought about it and all of them just appeared in front of him. Drinking people also don't ask questions, so he drank. Now with a little bit of alcohol in him, you know Charles Darwin told you, all of you are monkeys, your tail fell away. Not me, Charles Darwin told you that you were all monkeys and your tail fell away and then you became human. Yes, definitely the tail fell away. But the monkey, in yoga, we always refer to an unestablished mind as markata, which means a monkey. Why we are referring to the mind as a monkey is, what are the qualities of a monkey? One thing about a monkey is, it's unnecessary movement. And another thing about the monkey is, if I say you're monkeying somebody, what does it mean? Imitation. Monkey and imitation have become synonymous. So these two essential qualities of a monkey are very much the qualities of an unestablished mind. Unnecessary movement, you don't have to learn it from the monkey, you can teach it to the monkey. And imitation is full-time job of the
I had a dream one time of a monkey making faces at me, and then I looked up the meaning and it was like, it was supposed to mean that you've got some people around you that are being duplicitous, that are being, you know, not quite forthright with you. They're pretending to be something they aren't.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's true or not, but it sure did make me paranoid at the time. Anyway, monkeys, mimicry,
mind.
it's relevant.
So when these two qualities are on, a mind is referred to as a monkey. So this monkey became active within him. He just looked around, thought, what the hell is happening here? I asked for food, food came. I asked for drink, drink came. There must be ghosts around here, and ghosts came. Oh, the ghosts have come, they're going to surround me and torture me, he thought. Immediately the ghosts surrounded him and started torturing him. Then he started screaming in pain and said, oh, they're going to kill me, and he died.
What?
Just now he said he's a fortunate being. The problem is he was sitting under a kalpavriksha or a wishing tree. He asked for food, food came. He asked for drink, drink came. He asked for ghosts, ghosts came. He asked for torture, torture came. He asked for death, death happened. Now don't go looking for these kalpavrukshas in the forest. You can barely find a tree these days. A well-established mind, a mind which is in a state of samyukti, is referred to as a kalpavriksha. If you organize your mind to a certain level of organization, it in turn organizes the whole system. Your body, your emotion, your energies, everything gets organized in that direction. Once all these four dimensions of you, your physical body, your mind, your emotion and the fundamental life energies are organized in one direction. Once you're like this, anything that you wish happens without even lifting a little finger actually. It would help to assist it with activity, but even without doing any activity, you can still manifest what you want if you organize these four dimensions in one direction and keep it unwavering.
He's saying good stuff, like organize your life, get your, your physical, your mental, your emotional, all good stuff, all good stuff. But is it gonna like produce for me like a Lamborghini if I want? Like what? Like how far are you? Like what do you mean?
It sounds like The Secret. Remember the book The Secret? Okay, I say this all due respect. I like Sadhguru. I listen to a lot of his stuff. I like him, but I mean, we're here to kind of play, Satan's advocate. So, have you ever met a real character? You ever met somebody that's a real character?
Yes.
Yeah, I bet you have. You can almost chalk that up to chronic pain. Sometimes the monkey-like person that's all over the place is real entertaining. You know? So I've juggled with this idea for a long time that we're sort of elected to be who we are. It's not just this narcissistic sort of self-centered, like, what can I Dream of Genie style manifest? You are in a world of other people, but you can get into the flow of that and realize what you're being elected to be, and sometimes that's a revolutionary. Sometimes that's looking around and being like, I'm the only sane person here. Time to lead a revolution. Sometimes that's your role. Sometimes it's get your damn act together. It's both what's coming from inside, but also what's coming from outside.
Yeah.
There's things informing you. It's not all this just central, what do I exactly want? Let me organize my mind so I can manifest exactly what I want. What is your mind? It's compiled of what's coming from outside of it. You're also looking at reality to understand what's going on inside.
Yeah.
It reflects.
Yeah. A lot of your thought life and stuff is being constructed based upon what you're soaking in.
So, like, the root of this can't be go meditate more, and in a year's time you'll be able to simply think about what you want and it'll appear. It can't be that. In a simplified version, it's got to just be, organize your life because it's going to be easier on you. You're going to be less monkey-like.
Yeah. And when the storms come and shake your mind up, you will have practiced and learned how to like tame that a little bit better.
Right.
So, I don't know.
In that direction for a certain period of time. Right now the problem with your mind is, every moment it is changing its direction. It is like you want to travel somewhere, and every 2 steps if you keep changing your direction, the question of you reaching the destination is very remote unless it happens by chance. So, organizing our minds and in turn organizing the whole system and these 4 basic dimensions of who you are right now in one direction, if you do this, you are a kalpavruksha yourself. Anything that you wish will happen. But right now, if you look at your lives, everything that you have wished for till now, if it happens, you have finished. Everything and everybody that you have desired for, if all of that lands up in your house today, could you live with that? Once we're empowered like this, it's very important that our physical action, emotional action, mental action and energy actions are controlled and properly directed. If it is not so, we become destructive, self-destructive. Right now, that is our problem. The technology, which is supposed to make our life beautiful and easy, has become the source of all the problem, that we are destroying the very basis of our life, which is the planet. So what should have been a boon, we are making a curse out of it. What has brought incredible levels of comfort and convenience to us in the last 100 years or so has also become a threat to our life simply because we are not conscious action, we are in
So part of what it's not the only time that, I've heard the term, so a man thinks, so he is, which I think is biblical. I can't remember who it was that quoted that said, a man is what he thinks about all day long, or a woman, or whatever.
Yeah.
There is some gravity to that, like how you think is going to inform how you behave, You just run an experiment. Before you go to a social thing, jazz yourself up a bit, imagine yourself laughing with the people you're about to go be around, and, it's going to be good. You can, switch gears to be a more lighthearted, sociable person through the power of your mind. You can do that. And there is actually a side of it where acting something out, even if your mind isn't on board yet, can change things. Like, say you're like, okay, I really want to go be a gregarious, involved social person, but your mind is like, black metal, like, oh, everything is terrible.
Yeah.
You can go to that place and behave as if you're away, and like with the momentum of that, actually start being a happier person and more social person. There's an element to that. Like, don't take that for granted. That's pretty significant.
Yeah.
Give it a try. Both tuning your mind to what you kind of person you want to be, and also acting as if till it happens. I mean, and depending on the people you're surrounding yourself with, you might encounter people that are like, "What's with you? Don't change. You're not allowed to just change. Who do you think you are?" Even if it's like I'm just being happy and supportive.
Yeah. Well,
sometimes you will encounter the world will have something to say about it.
That's true.
And so that's where you're testing your resolve. Do you crumble into paranoia and like, forget it, I'm not even going to do it then if people don't just automatically switch gears because I'm in a happy place.
Yeah.
And you got to be considered. Is that what you want to be? You want to connect with people? What if you go to a group of real downers and you want to connect with them? Being happy, you ain't going to connect.
Yeah,
you might have to like tune it down a little bit.
Yeah.
What would you rather, be better than them or actually connect with these people and maybe tell some sad stories yourself?
Good point.
In a compulsive state of action. So organizing our minds fundamentally means moving from a compulsive state of activity to a conscious state of activity. You might have heard of people for whom they asked for something and beyond all expectations it came true for them. Generally this happens to people who are in faith. Now, let's say you want to build a house. If you start thinking, oh, I want to build a house. To build a house I need 50 lakhs, but I have only 50 rupees in my pocket. Not possible, not possible, not possible. The moment you say not possible, you're also saying I don't want it. So on one level, you're creating a desire that you want something. On another level, you're saying I don't want it. So in this conflict, it may not happen. Someone who has some faith in a god or in a temple or whatever, who is simple-minded. Faith works only for those people who are simple-minded. Thinking people who are too much thinking, for them it never works. A childlike person.
That is massive. That's a huge point. We could pause the video and not even watch the rest. Let's just think about what he said there for a sec. Non-thinking, simple people, this works like gangbusters. That you can have faith and then you'll just believe it because you're like that. The thinking person is a problem.
Yeah.
I pride myself on thinking. I pride myself on going off and doing the heavy
can work against
mental
your detriment sometimes.
Exercise to come back and have some relevant points. And whatever, I understand that can be that's an arrogant attitude. It says something
about the simplicity of the mind sometimes. Maybe someone who's like just getting into spirituality or they're part of some organized religion and they have a simple faith where it's just like, I just pray
blessed.
to God. They just follow the team wherever it's going. They say their prayers and they just trust. They just believe.
Yeah.
It's a blind belief, and it ends up working.
But as a thinking person, I actually can't let it go. I was this close to saying, if you ever encounter a religious person and they're not causing any harm, they're just religious or whatever, but they're friendly, leave them alone. Don't talk them out of their religion. Don't get into some philosophical debate. Leave them blessed and simple. But my analytical mind goes, wait a sec. Nothing is without repercussion. Even the innocent of just faith believers could be causing hell for somebody else. Because what if their faith is going to smack up against somebody that's got an alternative lifestyle?
Yeah, but even in that, it's like timing is everything.
But
right?
look what just happened. Look at how frazzled I got. Don't be that way. Just be simple. Accept it. What is the gist of what he's saying here? Think about what you want. Get your mind in order, and then you'll be able to have it. Don't think anymore then. Actually turn off your analytical brain. That's real hard for some of us. But maybe you can do it with your mind. Let me imagine what it would be like to be somebody that didn't endlessly philosophize. All right, there I am, enjoying myself. And then run the experiment. See if you actually get happier.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Who has a simple faith in his god or his temple or whatever. He goes to the temple and says, Shiva, I want a house. I don't know how. You must make it for me. Now in his mind there are no negative thoughts. Will it happen? Will it not happen? Is it possible? Is it not possible? These things are completely removed by this simple act of faith. Now he believes Shiva will do it for him and it will happen. So is Shiva going to come and build your house? No, I want you to understand, God will not lift his little finger for you. What you refer to as God is the source of creation. As a creator, he has done a phenomenal job, there's no question about it. Could you think of a better creation than this? Is it in anybody's imagination to think anything better than what is there right now? So as a creator, he has done his job wonderfully well. But if you want life to happen the way you want it, because right now, the very crux of your happiness and your well-being is this: if at all if you're unhappy, the only and only reason why you're unhappy is life is not happening the way you think it should happen. That's all it is. So if life is not happening the way you think it should happen, you're unhappy. If life happens the way you think it should happen, you are happy. It's as simple as that. So if life has to happen the way you think it should happen, first of all, how you think, with how much focus you think, how much stability is there in your thought, and how much reverberance is there in the thought.
I feel like the secret of this is, though, if you get your mind in order, it's like, okay, you're happy because it's not the way you want it to be. So look at your thoughts. Is it organized or whatever? Now get it. I feel like the sneaky monkey paw version of this is, by the way, once you organize all your thoughts and everything, you look around and realize it's perfect the way it is. And nothing actually needs to change. Well, it's not the same thing as having a secret power that makes me be able to manifest what I want with my chaotic mind.
He was also kind of like tapping into the non-dual side of creation there, where like the creation did everything right. You're a part of the creation. And just, but do what you're going to do.
But I do think it's true. I've thought about it.
Yeah,
I do think it is actually true, which is going to irritate people that are not happy and want to see a different world. But think about it. I've given it a lot of thought.
Oh, yeah.
That it is true that there is a state that you can realize, oh, it's actually perfect.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, what are you talking about? You think that, like, war is perfect and you think this is perfect?
Yeah.
It's like, that's a hard sell, baby.
Yeah.
But that's, I'm sorry, I believe that's what he's getting at here. He's not outright saying it like an aggressive bull in a china shop like me, but he is like, if you organize your thought, you'll probably look around and be like, I could or I couldn't. It doesn't really matter. Everything's perfect nevertheless.
And you can also go down the road where like you take a look at your life and all the terrible things that are happening and you're responsible for them. That's a brutal road to try and like, if that is the case.
I think that that's a phase that one must go through, is extreme response. There's all these extremes that I tend to think. Extreme acceptance.
Yeah.
One of them is extreme responsibility.
Yeah.
But to me, it's not a full, because, like, how enlightened do you got to be actually be like, I did manifest the universe?
Yeah.
Like, how solipsistic do you got to get to be like, I'm responsible literally for even that trauma that happened to me when I was really young? That's really tough.
Yeah.
But I think there's an advanced, hyper advanced, I say with caution, phase you can actually get to where you take on what I would call extreme responsibility.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a crazy concept. The other thing, last quick thing I was going to say, is have you ever run the test where you're like, you sat down and you're like, let me just imagine at the beginning he says the guy's walking through paradise. Have you ever sat down and be like, what would paradise be for me?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I did it
practice,
once,
actually.
and I found that I was like constructing this place in my mind, and I was like walking through, and it was beautiful and great. And then I was like, let's shake it up a little bit. And I put in a haunted house, like one of those kitschy, like tourist trap haunted houses.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is interesting. The other day I was playing with the Oculus, the VR thing, and I was playing some meditation game. I was like, I just want to see some cool digital 3D beauty.
Yeah.
And then it was not long before I was like, downloaded a horror nightmare game. I was like, let's shake it up.
Yeah.
So if you are taking responsibility, are you responsible no matter who you are? You think you're an unassuming, I'm just a religious zealot that doesn't want to cause no harm. Yeah, but do you cause arguments? Do you go places and be like, well, you really should believe what I believe? There's
creating chaos in your own life.
To what degree can you be honest about the serious like drive within you that actually wants problems?
Yeah. Like
that's I've never met somebody that can admit that. I have yet to have met somebody that's like, oh yeah, I do like to start 3-day fights just because I'm bored. Like, I've never met somebody like that.
A perfect reality gets boring really quick. When there's no...
That's what I'm saying.
When you have all the cheat codes, and you're like, oh man, Like I need something to keep me moving.
We've all played video games, and we've all put on the God mode and cheat game. It gets boring real. You get sick. You're like, I'm in control of these mindless. There's no challenge, you know. And I'm like not a big. I don't feel like I run towards challenges, but I do.
Yeah.
Thought process will determine whether your thought will become a reality or is it just an empty thought. Or how you do not create any impediments for your thought by creating negative thought process. This possible is something possible or not possible, is destroying humanity. What is possible and not possible is not your business, it's nature's business. Your business is just to strive for what you want. Right now you're sitting here.
Wait a sec. Your business is just to strive for what you want. That's it. Close the book. Off you go. Like, what happens when you don't add any more to that? Again, he said he's a wise genius teacher, and he says 1,000,000 gold nuggets that you could literally, if it wasn't too boring, we could like sit and think about for half an hour.
Yeah.
Your job is to strive for. What else would your job be? Just in all honesty, what else would your damn job be?
Yeah.
Other than to strive for what you want. In some sense, because if you go through the phase of hyper acceptance of things, you enter at a place where you're like, well, wait a sec. How do we not know that humanity destroying itself isn't part of the plan? Again, another thing, almost everybody's going to be like, what are you talking about? That's crazy. That's like asking, why is the sky blue? Well, hang on. Use your brain for 2 seconds and don't have a tantrum. How do you know that it's not nature's plan that we have a shelf life? I mean, there are things that have gone extinct. I'm not proponenting that. I'm not saying that that's what I want. But I'm saying how egoic of humanity to be like, this is the age we enjoy because we're biased to it. We love it. So let's freeze it in time and have nothing change and be exactly the same forever.
Yeah.
In lieu of not being that way, the other way most people are is believing we're doomed. It's the end of the world. You either got to believe that it's going to end terribly.
Well, hey, what about the golden agers who
Yeah, but that's rarer.
Yeah, I'm an advocate for that. I'm like, let's get on board with the golden age.
Yeah, I'm on board for that too, but who knows what that is? A golden age, according to who? Like, what if the golden age is like the crickets are like, yeah! And the humans are,
We serve the crickets.
Yeah.
If I ask you 2 simple questions, I want you to just look at this and answer this. Right now, from where you're sitting, can you just fly off? You say no? Right now, from where you're sitting, can you get up and walk? You'll say yes. What is the basis of this? Why you say no to flying and yes to walking? Because past experience of life, many times you've gotten up and walked, never did you fly off. Or in other words, you're using the past experience of life as a basis for deciding whether something is possible or not possible. Or in other words, you have decided that what has not happened till now cannot happen in your life in future. This is a disgrace to humanity and the human spirit. What has not happened till now on this planet can happen tomorrow. Human beings are capable of making it happen tomorrow. So what is possible and what is not possible is not your business. That is nature's business. Okay. Nature will decide that.
You like that?
I like that.
Expand.
Well, I like the idea of thinking of the impossible and thinking that things that are possible just because we haven't experienced them, which kind of gets me into my support for magical thinking. I like the idea of magical thinking. I don't want magical thinking to not be a thing because it causes us to dream bigger than, our own experience, like outside of the box thinking of like what we could. And he started this thing off by saying that it is all about the imagination and what we're creating. You
never know what the result's going to be like. There's so many artists out there now, and Instagram is like, I'm into art. I'm an artistic person myself. There's so much amazing art that you just drown in it. Everything that you can imagine, and there's an opportunity even if you're not that good. It's like my whole page is stick men. I've got the stick guy drawing page. And it's the same picture over and over again. You could have a following. Yeah. But the point is that we're drowning in art, and I'm like, what are the economic repercussions of this? Are we going to become a economy of art? as we slowly, people have talked about universal base income, which I think is wise as AI develops and robotics develop. What if we got into this hyper creative space?
Yeah.
So when it comes to magical thinking, I read Walt Disney's biography a few years back, or I ear-read it, I listened to it. And it was one of the things it was talking about was how at the time cartoons were like very overlooked. Like, people were like, just some stupid thing, Like, people did not take them seriously.
Yeah.
But Walt Disney was like obsessed with cartoons. If he hadn't have been obsessed like that, who knows what we wouldn't have now? We wouldn't have emergent technology that all spiraled out from that. But at the time, so who knows what kind of thing you're into?
Yeah.
That somebody might come across and be like, it's a waste of your time. Think about the video game stars that are like, they make lots of money playing video games because they didn't listen to people saying you're wasting your time with that. Yeah. The world is your oyster. If you can dream it, what if you can do something with it?
Yeah. Yeah, I like it.
Get your mind on board. Get excited. All this. Next thing you know, you're excited about you wake up every day. I can't wait for Monday. I'm following my dreams. I go to bed thinking about my dreams. I live in that world.
Amen. Yes, I agree. Yeah. Yes, good stuff.
You just see what is it that you really want and strive for that. And if your thought is created in a powerful way, without any negativity, without any negative thoughts bringing down the intensity of the thought process, the first and foremost thing is you must be clear what is it that you really want. If you do not know what you want, the question of creating it doesn't arise. If you look at what you really want, what every human being wants is, he wants to live joyfully, he wants to live peacefully. In terms of its relationships, he wants it to be loving and affectionate. Or in other words, all that any human being is seeking for is pleasantness within himself, pleasantness around him. This pleasantness, if it happens in our body, we call this health and pleasure. If it happens in our mind, we call this peace and joy. If it happens in our emotion, we call this love and compassion. If it happens in our energy, we call this blissfulness and ecstasy. This is all that a human being is looking for. Whether he is going to his office to work, he wants to make money, build a career, build a family, he sits in the bar, sits in the temple, he is still looking for the same thing. Pleasantness within, pleasantness around. If this is what we want to create, I think it's time we addressed it directly and commit ourselves to creating it. So you want to create yourself as a peaceful human being, joyful human being, loving human being, a pleasant human being on all levels. And do you also want a world like this? A peaceful world, a loving world, a joyful world? No, I want greenery, I want food. When we say a joyful world, that means everything that you want has happened. So this is all that you're looking for. So all that you need to do is commit yourself to creating it, to create a peaceful, joyful and loving world, both for yourself and everybody around you. Every day in the morning, if you start your day with this simple thought in your mind, that today, wherever I go, I will create a peaceful, loving and joyful world. If you fall down 100 times in the day, what does it matter? For a committed man, there is no such thing as failure. If you fall down 100 times, 100 lessons to be learnt. If you commit yourself like this to creating what you really care for, now your mind gets organized. Once your mind gets organized, the way you think is the way you feel, your emotion will get organized. Once your thought and emotion is organized, your energies will get organized in the same direction. Once your thought, emotion and energies are organized, your very body will get organized. Once all these four are organized in one direction, your ability to create and manifest what you want is phenomenal. You are the creator in many ways.
Yeah.
That which is the source of creation is functioning within you every moment of your life.
All right, I know it's getting to the end, but I can't hold it anymore. I was just thinking about how all this can snowball. Like, have you ever met somebody that's in a rough place and they kind of sound like they're fishing for advice, and you're like, well, hey man, like, think on this side of things, and they're like, no, I can't think that way. It's all bad.
Yeah.
You know, and then it kind of rubs off on you a little bit. You walk away and you're trying to think positively and manifest the great things, and then you're like, yeah, but there are negative bad things too. Like, you get infected by that.
Yeah.
But I was imagining a person that sat down and was like, what do I really want? How do I line up with the good the universe has to offer? I want to see world peace. So I'm going to be peaceful. And then that voice pops into your head. Yeah, but what about the violent guy that, you know, pushed you down into the mud when you were a kid and took your stuff? You still bearing a scar of that. And then you think, well, I hope that he becomes a peaceful person. Well, what about the fact that you went to that group of people the other day and they were irritated and offended by your positivity? Well, then I hope that they will slowly switch gears. And then you just hope, and you continue resolute in your way. And then next thing you know, there's like you realize it's not just you thinking that. I also pray and hope that other people will come to this same conclusion. And then all of a sudden there's this movement, mysterious movement of people getting more positive.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck?
That's like a very good therapeutical practice. Like, if you're in a meditation or you're just sitting down and you're being quiet, going through all the people that ever hurt you and like having like a forgiveness session with them and being like, you know, I forgive you for all the stuff that you did, and it like being a good, like that's like a practice. I think the reason why a lot of people wouldn't do that is they don't have that, like what he talked about in the beginning, that childlike faith that it could happen. Yeah. What if you had a childlike faith that I want to see the world be at world peace? Yeah.
You know, and you really believed it and you really lived into it. I think people get injured and scarred and traumatized in life, and then they're like, but that's not how it is. But that's not how it is. It's like, listen, we all have a reason to say that's not how it is.
Yeah.
But what happens if you really believe?
Yeah. Like, yeah, you make a choice about it.
I sound like a stupid, baby.
No, you make sense. Like, no, it makes sense what you're saying. It's a hurdle that we have to figure out how to get over. Yeah. And I think on some level we are collectively doing this worldwide as we speak.
If I'm thinking this, somebody else is thinking this.
Yes, exactly.
And so what happens when we get on board, man?
Yeah. All right, let's let him close it out.
It is just that, have you kept access to that dimension or not? Organizing the 4 basic elements of your life will give you that access. There are tools and technologies to do this. The whole science of yoga, the whole technology that we refer to as yoga is just about this, transforming yourself from being just a piece of creation to become a creator. It is my wish and my blessing that every human being in this world should have this access to the source of creation within himself, so that he can function here as a creator, not just as a piece of creation.
Right, so I think 2 things would be, 1, know what you really have a good grip on what it is you think you want to begin with.
Yep.
You might be thinking you want things that you don't actually want. And that sounds like a confusing idea, but imagine somebody like drilled into your head, you got to be an accountant. And you're like, I got to be an accountant. So it's my dream to be an accountant. And you're parroting something that isn't your idea. Know what it is you actually want. And then the second thing is, I'm imagining there's got to be people out there that are like, yeah, but I actually don't want world peace. Like, I'm a bit of an asshole. I actually don't want it. I want war. You know, like the beginning of Cyborg. I like this world. You know, there could be that kind of person too. And I would say if you're the world peace person, just maintain that it is possible that, you know, do you want other people to get what they want? Do you want also other people's weird drives to be satiated too? Or do you just want what you want? Then analyze that a little bit.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you say to that?
It's a practice. A lot of people, I don't think they know what they want. They don't even have a clue what their life purpose is. Ask, if you just went randomly into the street and started asking people, what's your life purpose? What's your life purpose? I bet you most people wouldn't, they'd have to like stop for a moment because they wouldn't know how to answer that. And like, when part of your life purpose is mixed in with what you want out of this life. What do you want to create? And that requires like effort, requires actually taking time And I think we live in a tough world that doesn't allow for that to take place all the time. It's so busy. It's so full of technology, like he was talking about, that we get blinded. We get so caught off, our path just by distraction. So we have to intentionally get back to where we need to go through some of the practices he was clearly showing at the end of that video. People meditating and yoga and doing all the stuff they do.
My mind is too filled with questions. Like I feel just like reporting, well, you know what my cat wants? My cat wants to catch a mouse and toy with its life. The cat brings the mice to me and they're always like, they always look like they've been humiliated before they were killed, And so I'm thinking about a person that's like, I really just like messing with people. I've got that in me. Like that is my life purpose. He talked about a simple faith. What if that's used for the dark side? I just simply want to conquer. It's simple. I have faith that I'll conquer, and I conquer. Like he's using the same thing. And again, this is advanced thinking, because I think most people would be like, well, then obviously that's the dark side. That's obviously bad. What are you talking about? God created my cats, who are little murderers. And how can we not reconcile that? So I think that there's two steps. Yes, from my biased attitude, I'm like, sure, be a simple believer, but you're going to be peaceful, right? All right, good. I don't need to worry about you. But people use these devices for maybe different purposes, and so I think if you've gone past that and you realize that things are a little more complicated than that, you might need to spend more time in the realm of understanding what it is you actually want. Wait, is there any demonic part of me? Is there any part of me that's a troublemaker? Is there any part of me that likes to compete and humiliate others? What the fuck? What?
No, that's good to get it. That's an honest conversation that everyone's got to have with themselves.
Have with yourself.
Yeah, and to work through some of that stuff. But this was a long one.
I know, I'm exhausted.
Guys, this was a long one, but it was good. Hope you liked it. If you did, guys, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, share this with a friend, and everyone, until next time,
stay spiritual.